With our main event of the evening, 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant IBF Cruiserweight Championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from the Miami High Line, it's showtime! Introducing to you first on my left, he is fighting out of the blue corner, wearing silver and black trunks, fighting out of Pensacola, Florida, by way of our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. He weighed in at the IBF Cruiserweight limit of 190 pounds even. His record stands at 27 wins, 5 losses, with 24 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the IBF number 4 ranked Cruiserweight contender, introducing Ezra Sellers. And his opponent across the ring on my right, fighting out of the red corner in this 12-round attraction, wearing black trunks and hailing from Reno, Nevada. He weighed in the same as his opponent, 190 pounds even. His record stands at 20 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, with 14 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the USBA Cruiserweight champion, currently ranked the number 1 contender in the world by the IBF, introducing Kelvin Concrete Davis. Once again, Frank Santori Jr., our referee in charge.
All right, guys, we've gone over everything in the dressing room. We went over both the IBF rules and Florida State rules. I expect you to obey both of them. All right, obey my commands at all times. Stay here, stay here. All right, obey my commands at all times. If I tell you to go to the neutral corner case for knockdown, go there and stay. Gentlemen, our belts are both about where they're supposed to be. Let's keep the blows here or above. Questions? Questions? Good luck, guys.
All right, let's go to work, baby. Now.
Not a whole lot of doubt with these two bruises. You get the feeling somebody's going to go. Kelvin Davis, short, stocky, really put together. 13 of his 14 knockouts inside 2. He says, let's end this in 1 round. We'll see. The taller left-hander he faces tonight is Ezra Sellers. Has half of his 24 knockouts in the first. 18 KOs in 3 or less. Very dangerous, particularly early. So here we go, round 1 scheduled for 12 with the vacant IBF Cruiserweight Championship. Davis in the black, Sellers, the southpaw, in the silver trunks. Davis, I've noticed, a bit too passive at times, but he's so ticked off by the weight scenario, he may come charging in like a bull and almost Tyson-esque.
Yeah, he has to be concerned about being too aggressive and forgetting that jab as he comes in. You know, this fight was originally scheduled for April 17th, and so they had extra time. Sellers pointed out to us that he literally had to take a week off. When that happens, the older fighter is in more danger of overtraining, so it might be a small issue with Ezra Sellers.
Davis hunting for the body. And with Sellers, yes, he is 35, 10 years older than Davis, hasn't fought since last June. Stamina has been an issue, so the longer this fight goes, the better it is for Davis. And so look for Sellers to perhaps try and end this early.
Well, unless, of course, the weight loss that Davis had to encounter early could have some effect on him. And there you see Davis being very aggressive here in this first round.
Yeah, he looks like a man, Davis does, in the black, who wants to go home early. He is winging some big bombs.
This fight may come down to whether the counter left of Sellers will land and will it hurt Kelvin Davis. That will tell us a lot if we see one of those really good left counters land and see how it affects Davis.
Davis, one of those guys who may make some mistakes along the way, but can still win. He's got to have a plan, though. Can't just go in willy-nilly.
So far, Davis is staying very low. A good sign for him. When he comes in too much of a stand-up posture, he's got a problem. He's moving his head as he comes in. He's staying low and making it tough for Sellers to counter him.
And remember, it is not unusual for Sellers to go down and then come back. Done that on several occasions.
right now is a good one for Davis, but you see he's in danger on the inside himself because Sellers is a good counterpuncher, though he doesn't want to be in the ropes this much.
Some hard body shots administered by Davis. Sellers been down at least 10 times. Davis has been down before. Davis 22-1, 14 knockouts. Sellers 27-5, all 5 losses by knockout. 24 of his 27 wins by knockout.
Sellers is not a fancy Dan boxer, but he knows how to use lateral movement and give angles to a fighter as he's doing now to Davis.
And Sellers now up on his toes as Davis continues to attack the body as we head for the bell in the opening round. More effective round for the much shorter Kelvin Davis.
Give me that water jug. Or wipe. Give me a little water. I like you, man. I'm saying, you're looking smart. I'm saying, remember your little fade up there. Give me a deep breath. A little water in my mouth. Take a deep breath, man.
There we go. Having fun, baby? Good night.
Kelvin Davis is a very good body puncher, and if you retreat to the ropes against him, he will throw combinations to the body. There he rips the body shot and the left hook. He can throw the right to the body as well. And Sellers, there is the right downstairs. Sellers trying to counterpunch off those ropes, but a commitment to the body and the head by Davis. Did a good job when he got Sellers against the ropes.
I would say the answer to the question, you having a good time, is yes. To Kelvin Davis, his brother, his manager and trainer, Kelly Davis. A lot better time than earlier this week when we were trying to get the weight down.
They were very testy about this, the question of their contract reading the wrong weight, etc. They were not happy campers. They were not happy campers coming into this fight. But now, once the fight has started, Kelvin Davis is in a very good rhythm so far.
I thought that testiness was a general reaction to seeing us. Here's Kelvin Davis unloading to the body and to the head. And Sellers just looking to protect himself. Finally gets out of that trouble.
Sellers is retreating to the ropes. He's not being pushed to the ropes, which makes you think perhaps he thinks he can counter off those ropes and nail Davis with something big. But Davis is getting inside where Sellers can throw those counter punches. So he's doing a good job of smothering Sellers' punches and still landing his own.
Kelvin Davis in the black trunks. The right-hander has looked the sharper of the two thus far here in the opening 2 rounds. Scheduled for 12 for the championship vacated by James Lights Out Tony when he moved up to heavyweight.
Don't hold him,
The
Ezra.
IBF Cruiserweight belt on the line. Good right hand, 2 in a row, and then a left by Kelvin Davis. A barrage by Davis. Back comes Sellers. You talked about the counter punching, and Sellers looking to turn things around. This is no surprise if you've seen Sellers fight.
This is as advertised. And that short little right uppercut that landed against Davis should have done more impact. That was a fantastic punch, but Kelvin Davis was able to shake it off.
We approach the final minute of the second round as things start to get a little more interesting now. It was one-sided up till now, and now all of a sudden Sellers bouncing around, looking more confident.
He took some big shots and I think was stunned Sellers against the ropes there, but was able to counter effectively, and that at least back into the match here.
Sellers looking to get by Davis and then fight for a heavyweight championship. It says, no 10-rounders for me. I want to fight for a heavyweight title, and then after that, kick back and watch Andy Griffith.
He's a big TV land fan. Well, I think this is the division where Ezra Sellers belongs, and part of it is we've seen already. He can be hurt by big punchers.
The thing's settling down just a bit after a rambunctious first round. Davis looking to finish fast.
Back on defense, and I want you moving toward these ropes. You circle it off. Round it off, okay? Look, you got to slow this down with like a left hand or something. Now, you got your jab going. Change it up, pop, pop, pop. Keep the jab going and you're moving. You're getting frustrated, but you got to carry this.
Kelvin Davis has been very aggressive and has pushed Sellers to the ropes repeatedly. That clubbing right hand pushed him back, and you see Davis not content to just throw one punch at a time. He is mixing in those left hooks with the overhand right. Remember, we said before during the keys to victory, the overhand right would be an important weapon for Davis. There's a fantastic right uppercut that landed by Sellers. You see he keeps his head about himself and is able to counter off the ropes. And toward the end of the round, same posture with Davis coming in and landing again one of those right hands.
That right hand.
One thing you cannot deny about Brad Sellers, he is physically strong. He can take a lot of punishment. He also has tremendous heart and very good recuperative powers, but courage and bravery are not issues with Brad Sellers wearing the silver. I should say Ezra Sellers.
Davis hunting him down and trying to push him back. Did Brad Sellers play with the Bulls? I'm pretty sure.
Yes, he did. I think he was a 7-footer. I'm mixing my basketball with my boxing.
That's okay.
Watch your back of the head. Don't hit behind the head. Stop! Stop!
See them on the inside. Now, for Davis, most of this fight has been according to the blueprint he planned. And I think a seminal moment in this fight came when he was hit with that short uppercut by Sellers. It was a perfect counterpunch. Didn't really hurt Davis. So that isn't to say Sellers can't hurt him, but that maybe gave Davis some additional confidence to keep attacking.
Once again, Davis looking to hunt down Sellers. A lot easier when you just call him by his last name.
There, exactly. I think you've hit on something. Sellers is, his issue is he wants to box, but he also needs to land something important in this fight. And he's not by trade a boxer, but he is a boxer puncher.
Davis has started his career as a smallish heavyweight. All he has known to this point are marginal titles, going for the big prize here. But he is a former USBA Cruiserweight champ. One of the few respected regional belts. As Davis once again pours in on Sellers. But then Sellers extricates himself quickly.
If Davis is going to continue to throw that looping right hand, it is going to be incumbent on Sellers to make him pay with the straight left, Steve. He's letting Davis wind up with that right and not trying to counter it. And that's a very bad sign for Sellers. He needs to do that. There it is, and he doesn't pay for throwing it and lands it. Wow! What an uppercut by Sellers.
Davis is winging those shots, making himself very vulnerable to a counterpunch by Ezra Sellers. Davis continues to hammer away. He has been the aggressor for most of the fight. Sellers has been on the receiving end, just sort of waiting for his moment. We'll see if that comes.
One by one.
Level. Stay right there.
You win it round by round. You hear me? Yeah, nice job.
Start the shots a little bit. Straighten them out for me. Take it easy for me. Think about that mountain, baby. You got this. You feel me? But I want you to start using your jab a little more.
Yeah,
okay?
open it up.
Start popping with that jab. Give me more feints. Use your jab, okay?
Davis gets Sellers in the corner, and Ezra Sellers lands a beautiful right uppercut. That is as good a counterpunch as he can throw, and yet, what does it do to Kelvin Davis? Nothing, just like the one 2 rounds ago didn't. And that may start to discourage Ezra Sellers.
Well, thus the nickname Concrete. And that too, by the way, came before boxing for Davis. Came at age 19 to signify he's a warrior. because it keeps him focused. So it's Kelvin Davis we can thank or blame for all the tattoo hullabaloo prior to the Tyson Etienne fight.
Yeah, he says Tyson just copied his idea.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, Al, the tattoos took a lot longer to get than that fight, which was 49 seconds in length.
You know, Sellers has got a bead on landing that right uppercut. He landed it again, but he cannot hurt Davis with it. Now, he may do it in the next 3 or 4 if he lands him, and Davis has to be aware of that.
Davis, an admirer of vintage Mike Tyson, not the latter-day Mike Tyson, the one with all the head movement and the speed. And we're seeing some pretty good head movement here from Kelvin. Right hand just missed by Davis.
Davis still winging the right. The previous one kind of glanced off the head of Sellers. He had landed a good one early in the round. This is a little better round for Ezra Sellers. He's landing a little bit more as he moves and avoiding the shots of Kelvin Davis a little bit more. And we have to look at Davis as this fight goes on. If, in fact, as he claims he had to lose 8.5 pounds in the last couple of days, he said 24 hours, it was more like 48. But the fact is, he did lose some weight. There's no question about that.
The question is, we just don't know how much. They're contending it was 10 pounds, which would be a lot in just a couple of days.
There's the overhand right again by Davis. It's become, as we suspected it might, a very important punch for him in this fight.
Davis again coming in. Davis with almost no amateur experience. It has to work against you in many ways. More work for your trainer. His brother Kelly, has done a very good job in trying to contain Kelvin's punches more, trying not to wing as much as he used to in the past. Punch wide.
Leave it out there, you got to take it.
The last time he faced the lefty, Reve Springs, he lost a 10-round decision. That was in August of 2002. He had hurt Springs early, but had trouble dealing with the lefty style. He's doing better tonight.
He should have fought that fight more from close range as he's coming in on Sellers here. Now that jab starts to pop by Sellers. Sellers being extremely cautious. Good right hand by Davis, and down goes Sellers.
4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, he's in
9.
trouble.
Okay. Okay.
They're going to continue. Once again, Sellers lucky that it came late in the round. He got up at 8.
Deep breath, deep breath. Deep breath, sit up straight, sit up straight. Get the towel, get the towel. A little bit. Give me a deep breath, just get your composure, man. Get your composure, look at me. Count to 5 for me. Take your time.
The aggression of Kelvin Davis paid off as he again sent Sellers against the ropes. There was the right hand that hurt him. That had been a great weapon, and down goes Ezra Sellers. He was so mad at himself. You see the distress. He was mad at himself for being hit with that right hand and getting hurt, and almost didn't beat the count.
Ready for your close-up, Mr. Sellers. The camera right on top of him. He got smothered. Davis suffocating Sellers towards the end of the round as we enter round 5. Here comes Davis, looking to end it here in the 5th. Jumping on Sellers. Relentless attack. Back comes Sellers with a right hand. But Davis undaunted.
Watch your head, Davis.
Kelvin Davis working very well on the inside. Sellers is still dangerous as a counterpuncher. And let's remember, you've given all the examples of how Sellers went down and got up and still won a fight. So you can't count him out yet.
He was down 3 times versus England's Carl Thompson.
Stop.
And came back to win.
Don't grab him. Go box.
He is a very resilient man, Ezra Sellers, but he is taking a pounding from Kelvin Davis.
Another big right hand by Davis. There's that short right uppercut by Sellers on the chin. Another one by Sellers.
The danger in Sellers continuing to throw it is Davis is now starting to throw the hook after that uppercut. He could land a big one.
Nice doubling up with the right, followed by a left by Davis. It's almost as if Sellers is inviting Davis in. There's a big right hand upstairs by Davis, a right uppercut on the inside. Body shot by Davis with the right.
Let him go.
Ezra Sellers is pinning everything on landing one of those right uppercuts and making it count to the point of hurting or knocking Kelvin Davis out. The danger in that strategy is he's landed a number of them.
A bad cut. Looks like over the right eye of Ezra Sellers. Now the left eye, both. I see blood around both eyes.
There is blood around both, but the left one is really a problem.
And Davis continues to wing big punches.
He punches up a little bit.
And one of the impressive things about Kelvin Davis right now is he is not ignoring the body work, which is an important element of what he should do right here. It'll further slow Sellers down.
There's blood streaking symmetrically down around both eyes of Sellers right now. Left hook, right. Sellers being pummeled here.
For a minute, Kel. Look out, okay, right there. Give me one on this side, Doc. Rest his mouth out, Alfred. Take it. Stay tight. Oh, your head back on that cushion. You got some Vaseline, Doc? Okay, you okay, baby. You got a little cut here, but we're going to work with it, okay? Give me some Vaseline.
Well, Alton Murkison, the understatement of the year, a little cut. This, we believe, is where the cut happened, and I think it is. A right hand that glanced off the side of the left eye of Sellers, and that after this, the blood will begin to flow. And that was yet another problem for Sellers in a match. You see the blood in which his problems continue to mount.
So we enter round 6, and all of a sudden a sense of urgency for Ezra Sellers. Cuts on both sides. Also has a lump developing around the eye. Trying to get a better look at it. Looks like the left eye. Right on the eyelid.
We're now reaching the point in this match where if Ezra Sellers doesn't land something that will stop the attack of Kelvin Davis, he is going to have a major problem.
And he is just keeping his distance right now, dancing around, trying to stay away from those bombs of Kelvin Davis.
And I think Sellers' problem is he has landed 3 or 4, maybe 5 right uppercuts that were really great punches, and they've done nothing to Kelvin Davis. And the left hand, the very good counter left that Sellers is known for, has been completely absent tonight.
So Ezra Sellers, the 35-year-old veteran in all kinds of difficulty. Frank Santori Jr., the third man in the ring, looking very closely at the damaged eyes of Sellers. Davis continues to stalk Sellers, marching him around from ropes to ropes. Pillar to post, as they say. Kelvin Davis in total command. Can Sellers pull off a dramatic turnaround under very adverse conditions?
You can almost see the wheels turning in Ezra Sellers' mind as Davis comes in and he's looking for that counter punch. Sellers told us before the fight that he wanted to use his jab as an effective weapon against keeping Davis out. It hasn't worked at all, and he hasn't thrown the punch much. There's that uppercut again.
Davis on the attack again, trying not to let the moment pass. Looked like he took a lot of time, though, Al, before he finally went in on the attack.
Well, I'll tell you, Kelvin Davis is getting hit with those uppercuts. 2 more landed, and it might be starting to make him a little wary.
So Davis continues to be very measured, very cautious, despite having Sellers in some trouble here. I'll give him that. He's being patient, but let's see if he's too patient. And Sellers has to be careful not to go straight back. That's dangerous. He's got to go side to side as blood continues to streak down the eyes of Ezra Sellers.
Sellers is moving but not jabbing, and that's a key point.
I'll get this side, Doc. Okay. Come on, work between me. Work between me. I got you. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Lean back on the pad. Take deep breath. Deep breath. A little water. Just let it run on your chest. Let it run on your chest. Just spit it out on your chest. You okay? All right. Deep breath. Deep breath. You okay? Hey, look. I want you to continue to do that, but you got to pop it with that left hand every once in a while. Keep leaning back, relaxing. Just listen. You ain't got to look at me. Okay? What I want you to do is I want you to keep that jab going. Put some snap on it, though. Give me some mixed power on it.
Yes, sir.
Okay? You got me?
Yes, sir.
Pass the lean, Doc, on your hand. I got it. Take it out. Take it out. All right, we coming, man. Mouthpiece in.
The worst of the two cuts is over the left eye.
Ezra, stop posting him up now. You can't hold it out properly. You can't hold it out.
For more on the situation, let's check in with our Jim Gray. Jim?
Well, Steve, I just spoke to Dr. Stanley Simpson. He looked at Sellers' eye in between rounds. He said it is not a problem for him to continue. It is on just above the eyelid, below the eyebrow. He said this will not stop the fight, the condition that it's in right now, Steve.
All right, Jim, and now apparently a low blow administered by Davis, but Sellers is okay. He continues quickly. So the good news is the battered Ezra Sellers, the blood's not really going directly into the eye. It's going around the eye.
Sometimes, here comes Davis
Watch
again.
your head, Davis. Don't go in with your head.
Sometimes when a fighter like Davis, as the fight goes later and later, they start to come in with their head up a little more. He's not doing that. He is staying low, continuing the head movement, and that's what's able to get him inside the jab of Ezra Sellers. Sellers so inactive when Davis comes in. There's the jab that Alton Murkison, who, by the way, you may recognize, also is the trainer of Roy Jones Jr., that he's been asking for from Sellers.
Now there's that jab by Ezra Sellers. Despite his problems, looking very spry. Dancing around, showing a lot more movement now, winging the jab. Let's see if he follows it up with the left. But continues to be extremely cautious. He has tasted a lot of leather here from Kelvin Davis thus far. We're in round 7. Sellers averages less than 3.5 rounds per fight. Davis just over 4, so both of them in some uncharted territory.
Good work right there by Kelvin Davis. And again, he let Sellers land another uppercut. This was a left uppercut. It just didn't daunt him, and he continued to wing those right hands. There's the left hand missing again by Sellers. If there's a headline in this fight, in my opinion, it's left hand misses by Sellers repeatedly. That's a key story in this fight.
5'7", Kelvin Davis, winning just about every round here. We're at the halfway point. I forgot to ask you, unofficially, what do you think?
I've given every round to Kelvin Davis, and of course the 4th round was a 2-point round. So I had it 60-53 after this last round.
Davis scoring the knockdown that round towards the end of the round, just before the bell.
fight now. That pace done slowed down some. Look here.
All right. Now
You missing with that up. Close your eye and lean back. Lean your back. You missing with that uppercut. Turn it into a hook, man. Turn it into a hook. Uppercut ain't landing. Okay? You got a sit pattern in your movement. You can't have no sit pattern just moving the same way all the time. Mix your pattern up. And when you switch up, drop some power off when you're coming out of there, okay?
Yes, sir.
Got me? You're doing good. You're doing good. But you got to pick it up to win this fight, baby. You know that. We done got through the worst part.
round 8.
He reaching for you now, okay? Keep your head back so I can get some pressure on here. Vaseline, dog.
Let me see your box now, baby.
Okay.
Kelvin Davis, on top of administering a legal punishment, sent that punch a little low. It was really on the borderline, but maybe straight a little bit low, and he got a warning for it.
Now some food for thought. Although Davis is clearly ahead after 7, he does not have a knockout after the 7th round.
And of course, we must go back to the fact that he did have to lose some undetermined amount of weight in the last couple of days. Will that sap his strength at all? The IBF weighed them this evening, and they both came in at 196 pounds. Now remember, he had to lose weight to get down to the 190-pound limit at the weigh-in the other day. Good left hook by Kelvin Davis.
Davis once again trying to get Sellers out of there.
They believe, Alton Murchison said, he's reaching for you. I don't think he's doing it any more than he did early in the fight. Davis is squaring himself up to Sellers when he tries to hold that right hand, but Sellers is not landing it as the press row scoring.
Armando Aguilera from FightNews.com, Elisa Harrison from BraggingRightsCorner.com, Santos Perez out of the Miami Herald. No surprise there.
Davis is giving Sellers a perfect opportunity to land the straight left when he squares himself up. So look how he's squared up there. Sellers is simply not throwing that punch.
I believe we expected a lot more out of Ezra Sellers, but not seeing it. You know, in his lone title fight with Johnny Nelson in Denmark a few years ago, one of the most boring fights in World Championship history. He rocked.
That's quite a statement.
Oh my goodness! I don't know if you saw. He rocked Johnny Nelson, but then he got stopped. It was the 8th round. And just before that was that wild and wacky fight with Carl Thompson. So I guess he could go either way, and a lot of it depends on who he's fighting, of course. But right now, this is certainly not the Ezra Sellers we saw against Carl Thompson. And there's a big right hand by Davis.
He keeps landing that right as Sellers gets out of there, and that would hurt him.
And he goes down for the second time.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You okay? You want to go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
You want to fight? You sure? All right. Box.
Well, in apparently very clear-headed fashion, he tells Frank Santori Jr., yeah, I want to go, but Davis looking to end it here. Down he goes again for a 3rd time, and Santori Jr. waves it off.
Now stay here. Here you go. We got a chair.
Kelvin Davis in emphatic fashion.
And ironically, after all the right hands that Kelvin Davis landed in this fight, it was 2 left hooks that did the most damage in this last round that ended the fight. And for all the travails that Kelvin Davis had leading up to this, he ends up winning this fight.
Well, he never stopped anyone after round 7. You can throw that one out. And now Kelvin Davis, as you look at a very disappointed Ezra Sellers.
And really, Ezra Sellers, let's say something about it. As we look at Kelvin Davis coming over and showing good sportsmanship, Ezra Sellers, a classy 35-year-old contender who now doesn't get the title in his 2nd opportunity, but Ezra Sellers, a very good guy and a good representative for the Cruiserweight, but couldn't get it done tonight.
As Kelvin Davis can now add one other similarity to his idol Mike Tyson,
Richard.
a world championship. And so doing becomes the only American with a share of the Cruiserweight title.
And I'm going to say about Kelvin Davis right now what I said about Orlin Norris years ago. No reason for this guy to ever leave the Cruiserweight division. I know they want money in the heavyweights. He could dominate this division.
But the problem there is you just don't get the attention or the recognition that you would get as a heavyweight. Wins the vacant IBF belt, runs his record to 21-2-1.
And we will see how he ultimately did it. There were a number of knockdowns in this fight. The first one came early in this match, and it would be a result of an overhand right. Good body work by Davis. And then that right, as Sellers was retreating, got him in big trouble. And the hook actually then sent him down. And Sellers in big, big trouble right there. Having a very hard time getting up. That's the first knockdown in this last round. The right hand set up the left hook. And it would be a left hook again that would create the trouble. And when we look at that one again, we see the good body work by Davis, and the right, which had been a big problem, hurt Sellers, but it was the hook that ultimately sent him down. And Davis was not one-dimensional in his attack when he got Sellers in trouble, and that is part of what was impressive of this effort. He worked the body, he'd throw the overhand right, when open he would throw the hook. Probably the only punch Davis didn't use much in this fight, which we anticipated him using and thought he had to, was the jab, but everything else was there. Then the second knockdown of the round that would spell the end for Ezra Sellers. Winging those right hands, but it was the clubbing left hook, just as it had been earlier in the round, that sent Ezra Sellers down. The referee had seen enough, despite the fact that Sellers was making an effort to get up, and the power of Kelvin Davis, ultimately too much for the 35-year-old veteran.
Punishment combined with stamina issues leading to the end here. I mean, the guy looked exhausted as well as being pummeled.
And you know he was in trouble when Davis threw 3 straight right hands and missed them, and Sellers did not throw one counter punch. You could tell he was really out of it at that point, and it was easy for Davis to land that left hook and then knock him out. And for young 25-year-old Kelvin Davis, what has been a turmoil-filled week ends up to be very satisfying for him in the ring.
Yeah, the weight issue, which seemed to unnerve Davis no end leading up to this fight, initially thinking it was a 200-pound limit, presumably had to scramble to get to 190, but a non-factor. Jimmy Lennon Jr. has the details. Jimmy? Well, that is the first time I've ever seen Jimmy Lennon Jr. speechless. Obviously a problem with the house microphone. Poor Kelvin Davis. He's waited all this time to finally get a world championship, and they can't announce his name. Unbelievable.
Well, the satisfaction is certainly still there for him as he has the IBF belt.
Yeah, I'd say so. He's patiently standing by, big smile on the face of Kelvin Davis, understanding the problem. And let's see if Jimmy's set now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 33 seconds in round number 8. Our referee in charge, Frank Santori Jr., stops the contest. He's the winner by way of technical knockout. He is the new IBF Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Kelvin Concrete Davis.
Well, a guy who didn't have a lot to smile about in the days leading up to this fight has plenty to smile about now. It's going to be interesting to see if he says he's going to stay at cruiserweight or move up to heavyweight, which means he can be whatever he wants weight-wise. And we're ready to get it over to Jim Gray right now. Jim.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Kelvin, congratulations to you. What's it like for you to have that belt around your waist?
Man, first of all, I'd like to say thank God, because without him, it wouldn't be possible. And for my good brother, 7 amateur fights, and we made a world title. It's all the people in the world that said I couldn't do it. I mean, it's like school teachers and stuff like that, and people that when we first moved to Vegas said we couldn't do it as a team, as a brother, and we did it, you know.
What's this week been like for you? You had to lose, you said 8.5 pounds in the last 24 hours.
You know what? The thing is, he trained me so hard that we just didn't let that get in our head, you know. He got me on a good road work and good, and you know, we just stay focused. Don't let that stuff get into our head.
Kelvin, you showed a lot of respect to Sellers. Did you expect a little bit more out of him? You dominated this fight.
Yeah, I knew he was a vet. I mean, I boxed a fellow by the name of Arthur Williams, and I won the USB title. My first 12-round fight. I never been past 6 rounds, and they took me for a 12, and I won on the decision. And, you know, it's 2 Pensacola guys. Maybe next will be Roy Jones.
Were you really? Okay. Were you surprised that you were able to catch him in the 4th round as we take a look here at the first knockdown?
I don't see
we'll look at ourselves for a second first. There you go. Tell us about what was going on here in the 4th round.
I was just stalking him, and I seen he kept going to my right. So I set it up with the jab, and I guess he didn't respect my power, especially, I mean, the way he was, you know, he was talking in the weigh-ins. So he didn't respect my power, and I have heavyweight power.
Did you know it was basically over from then, and you just didn't want to get caught?
No, I didn't know it was going to be over. I just stayed patient. You know, I never take anybody lightly, even if they're hurt.
Here's tried to knock down in the 8th, the first one. Wobbly there.
Yes. See, I knew he could come off with the check hook, the Pensacola special. So I just wanted to stay aware. He has a good right hook, so my brother been teaching me that the whole time we've been training. Stay away from his right hook.
And then just a few seconds later, as we jump forward here at the end of the fight, what was going through your mind here?
My brother told me don't listen to the crowd, to stay focused. And right there, when I was throwing that double right hand, I was thinking of Mike Tyson when he fought Larry Holmes. And I just kept doing it, and it finally worked.
In a boxing sense, have you tried to pattern yourself after Mike Tyson?
Yeah. And I want to say one thing. I tattoo first. And, you know, the thing is with Mike Tyson, let me see, what's the word I'm looking for? What's that word I always say?
Inspires you.
If I inspire Mike Tyson like he inspired me, hey, we can take from each other. He took my tattoo, I took his black shorts.
Well, congratulations to you,
One can
Kelvin.
take from each other, you know.
Roy Jones Jr., you want to jump up to the heavyweight? He's the heavyweight champion. He's got a fight coming up.
I'm undefeated as a heavyweight, 17-0 with 14 knockouts. I just did Cruiserweight for a USBA title, and I won.
Well, let's bring in Don King. Don, you control the heavyweight division again, and would you now put Kelvin in the mix?
Kelvin is in the mix. Kelvin was a great, great fighter. He demonstrated fighting similar to Mike Tyson, but he went out there and he did his job. He went out and fought from the very beginning to the end. He was sensational. He told me that when he came to see me, and he proved to him and his brother Kelly they're tops on my agenda, and we're going out there to fight anybody and everybody that's available.
Well, since you control it, what would be your immediate plans for him?
Ain't no immediate plan. Let him savor the victory right now. He didn't about no plans, but nothing else. He got the title.
I want to say, my brother brought me up from ground zero, and he got me to a world title. That's saying something. He didn't go off and get some people that are already ready-made fighters. And what I want to say about Don King, I went from ESPN to Showtime main events. That's what Don King does for you.
All right, well, it's good to see you. Congratulations to you on the belt. And Don, nice to see you.